right here on the Muskegon channel. I'm Andy O'Reilly. Dave Cackley is a man of thought. He's a man of reflection. He's a man of depth,
this is
wisdom, and a few other
character.
things. Character.
I have character.
Character's
yes.
right.
Don't forget that.
Hey, speaking of characters, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Something you failed to report back to me on at one point or another.
What's that?
Well, it was brought to my attention over the weekend. A relative of mine actually ran into you at one point.
Oh,
yeah, and you kind of big-timed her.
Completely forgot.
Yeah. She said,
in fact,
hi, my name's Jenny, and you know my cousin Andy O'Reilly, and I
okay.
guess her son goes to school with your son.
Yes.
Yeah, and you met her at a gym at one point or another, and she said, oh, yeah, it's my cousin, and you kind of just looked at her and went, oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing, rolling around big-timing people?
No, I don't big-time anybody.
Well, it's not.
I'm not big-time.
I'm just saying you kind of.
I don't have the potential to big-time anybody. Well, I apologize to Jenny for.
Well, I'm just saying.
Forgetting that.
She wanted to feel like she just kind of wanted to feel like she had an in there for a minute, and then you were kind of like, no, I'm on TV. You can't be bothering me. I get it. Hey, and that's all right. I get it. When you're a big Tim TV guy like you are, driving around in a 1978 Marquis, I can see where you've got that kind of space. You got to have your.
Yeah. Well, I apologize to your cousin Jenny for me. I do feel bad about that. I didn't mean to. I don't really remember it. I vaguely recall somebody, because I get people coming up to me who say they know you. That's not that uncommon.
Right.
Hey, I know Andy from here or there, wherever.
Well, let me go a little deeper on it then. Is it one of these things where it's a resentment for you?
No, not at all.
You're like, oh,
why would I
that son of a bitch?
Yeah, I'm ready. That's good. Oh, yeah. What about me? You talk about Andy. What about Dave? How about giving me some love?
Well,
how about
me?
It.
Right,
how about guys on the
TV?
Ego. Yeah. You see, you don't understand. It's very, very fragile.
Yeah.
The male ego is a very, very fragile thing. You should know that. And so, yeah, there's the real reason. Truth is out.
Okay. Well, I get it then. Well, it's nothing.
Anyway,
nothing I'm surprised about when it
but
comes
anyway,
down to your ego.
I apologize to your cousin. Sorry, Jenny.
I don't think I'd seen her in a couple of years. So
okay.
Yeah. So
well, evidently, you're not that close.
No, I'm very close.
So
I'm close to all my family.
We spent the last 4 minutes me feeling bad over nothing. Cousin you never see.
When you met her, were you on dope?
Was I on the dope? Hey, we're going to talk about dope in a little bit.
Oh. Well,
but right, so that's a good tease.
Let's talk
about
dope.
Good unknowing tease from you.
Are we talking about dope or are we talking about marijuana?
That's dope. It's the same thing. We call it dope.
It's not. Dope is what you call that heroin stuff.
No, heroin's not dope. Heroin is heroin.
No, that's
heroin's not dope.
Trust me.
Doper.
All right, what do you got, news?
Yeah, let's do it. One Democratic senator says he would not vote for Gina Haspell, President Trump's pick for CIA director. Martin Heinrich, who is a member of the Intelligence Committee, claims the public is not being afforded an open and honest debate about the nominee. Haspell has been criticized for her role in harsh interrogation techniques as the deputy director. I don't know if she should or shouldn't be. I mean, she was deputy director, so I guess that qualifies her. But I'm always bothered when people bring up harsh interrogation techniques and somehow that disqualifies somebody. And I get it. I get the argument if you're talking from a moral perspective.
Right.
I have a hard time arguing with it. They say that's something we shouldn't do because we're America. We don't do that. And they try to take the moral high ground. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, what's less moral? Pulling a guy's fingernails out to find out where the bomb is, or letting the bomb explode and a bunch of innocent people die.
Right.
So, I've never really had a problem with enhanced interrogation or torture. I have a problem with it from a moral standpoint. I feel bad about the fact that it's a necessary evil, and I do believe it's an evil. Yeah. But at the same time, the lesser of two evils, I think. And to say it doesn't work, you can say it's not 100% effective. Yes. Are there other ways to get information? Yes. But there's a reason it's been around for thousands of years. It's because it does work. So to say it doesn't work, that I'd never buy that
Can't
argument.
You just dope them up on truth serum or something and get them to talk?
I would think, I don't know. there are people who are of a much higher pay grade than I do and are
Right.
more, obviously knowledgeable about interrogation than I am. So
Yeah.
I will kowtow to the experts.
There you go.
All right. A new report finds that the legalization and taxing of marijuana does boost revenue, but not that much. The credit rating agency Moody released its findings on Tuesday, showing that legalizing the drug brings more money than it costs to regulate it. Revenue in most states, though, was under 2% of the state budget. Of course, Colorado, I think, got the most, which was, I think, a little over 2%. But, they're baked all the time there with their snowboarders, their hash pipes, and all that stuff. So, but, it brings in some revenue. And, I think you can look at it this way. If you're somebody who's vehemently opposed to marijuana being legalized, if the revenue is not going up that much, means not as many people are using it. So evidently there's not this huge addiction to the demon weed,
dude,
that many may have thought.
You know me and you know my past. I
Yes.
know what addiction is. Okay.
Right.
You cannot be physically addicted to marijuana. It does not have the addictive properties that alcohol or nicotine or heroin or any of that kind of stuff. You know what
cocaine.
I mean? There is. Yeah. I think that there are people that can be mentally dependent on it.
Yeah,
I think there are people
true.
that get their mind made up that, I can't make it through the day without a couple of puffs here and there and all that other kind of stuff. But it's been proven. I mean,
right.
And again, we talk about this almost on a daily basis because it's what's in the news now, and it's going to be on the ballot in November and everything else. I don't think it's good for kids. I don't want people out driving around on it. But this demonization of it, and like you said, they're all baked in Colorado. That whole image of that, it's just got to go. I mean,
well, I don't mind the image.
It's so
dude playing hacky sack and
you know what? Good for them. But
that's fine.
Does anybody? I mean, I guess it's a little different now. But at one point, did anybody think twice about a guy going out and having a couple of martinis at lunch?
No.
You know what I mean? It's not the right thing to do in a work environment. Going out and drinking at lunch, but people do it.
Right.
It's not the right thing to do in a work environment to go out and smoke a blunt at lunch. It's just there's a time and a place for everything. You know what I mean? And for this whole mentality around this, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just to the point now where it's like, just let it go.
I got to admit though, going back to the drinking thing, I did have a boss during a broadcast remote when I was working in Kalamazoo ply me with drinks while I was on the air.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, he was baked at the time.
Of course. He
was high and giving me drinks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's radio and,
Yeah, that's a different ballgame.
It's a little different thing. And
right.
I honestly, even through my alcoholism, the worst of it, I drank on the air once.
Yeah.
One time.
I think everybody had that experience, yeah.
And it was that summer I was on at LAV, and there was a big thing going on at the Bob, and I was worried about getting over there and everybody's going to be hammered before I did. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, I'm going to have a couple beers here. Right. So I start this beer, I get it going. I'm so nervous about the thing. I tipped it over and spilled it all over.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
I remember
it got
the
into
story.
the CDs. It got into it was everywhere. And you got to keep in mind, I was a pretty established alcoholic, right? So but I was so terrified of drinking a beer in the studio just to get caught up to the crowd across the street that I spilled it all over the place. It was just a disaster.
Crazy.
But like I said, don't drive if you're smoking pot. Don't do it around kids. Period. Don't let kids have access to it.
Yeah.
But this idea of this hopeless addict and all this other kind of stuff, it's just it's enough.
And as far as the availability goes, I going back to like the mid 90s, I've always, if I wanted to, everybody knew the guy that you could go to. It's not like it's going to make that much of a difference, really. It's just that you're going to be able to legally do it. It's not going to be we're doing something bad or we're doing, that element is going to be pretty much stripped. But I mean, I've known a guy or multiple people since the early to mid 90s. And,
it's not.
And it was
everybody.
never my thing.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, and I'm okay with that. But, just from the other side of the coin, there's a beer store on every corner. And I don't hear anybody screaming about save the alcoholics because there's temptation on every corner for them. And
absolutely.
It's just let it go.
But you know what, you know what's next? You know what's next?
Dancing?
Dancing and then whores.
Oh, God.
And that's what happens. There's drinking, then there's dancing, then there's whores. It's the hierarchy of bad things.
We'll keep fighting for the girls that are in the wrong line of work.
Okay, gotcha. Finally, hundreds of people have been cured of hepatitis C after working with a specialized clinic in Muskegon. The Hep C clinic opened in 2011 at Hackley Hospital. Its 37% cure rate is actually a lot higher than the national average. The Hep C clinic hopes to hit 50% this year. Hepatitis C is the number one cause of liver disease and is the main reason people end up having to get liver transplants.
Wow.
So good for them.
Great things happening in Muskegon.
Absolutely. Sports. Tigers lose again. Big surprise. They go down to Texas.
Last night we're watching the game and it's 5-1. And I look over at Cindy and I said, I got to put this on Dave's wall. I said, I got to rub it in because they're coming back to 500. 5-1's the score, right? I said to Cindy, I said, watch this. I'm going to write it on Dave's wall. Within 3 minutes, it was tied. She looks over at me and she goes, great. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
You just jinxed them.
A forgettable season continues in Detroit. Cubs win. They hammer Miami 14-2. And Stan Van Gundy out as head coach of the Detroit Pistons. That's sports.
Oh, the Detroit Pistons are still a thing? Been a minute since I watched basketball. Sorry.
A while, you think.
Have yourself a great Tuesday.
Right. See ya.